What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I don't have any flashy title cards or anything about that because the title is pretty simple. Patch 1.600 killed my full auto archer build, my first build, my first love, I would say. But to be honest, I'm pretty happy about it. I'm not really going to go over the patch notes. You can kind of go over them yourselves, but just know that the damage of the true aim Yumi was basically nerfed into the ground. It's at a state where I would not put my stamp of approval on this build. A little bit about me is that I love breaking games, and I don't mean that in the sense of using glitches or exploits, but I love taking the game mechanics to the absolute limit and really enjoying a power fantasy within the game, whatever that means. So whenever I make my builds, I try to just make them as incredibly effective as possible, but also very fun to play. And so when I posted my full auto archer build, that was the goal. I honestly just found it incredibly powerful and incredibly satisfying to use, and it was very effective. And it really feels like in this patch, the devs looked at my video and said, okay, yeah, this is a little bit too good. And I'm honestly a little bit honored. It's definitely delusion because I have no idea if that's the case, but it really does seem like they touched a little bit of everything that really made this build special. The headshot damage of the true aim Yumi is a lot less. I don't even get the ammo back that I used to get from resupply. The empowered hunt is weakened as far as, you know, the amount of ammo that I can get back. So you'll see in this gameplay, if you're watching it, it's really bad. Like, I am a power fantasy guy, and when I make a build and I post a build, it's because I feel that it's very powerful and it's very good. And at the current state of this build, I would not put my stamp of approval on it. It would not be posted on my channel. So going into why I'm happy about it, you know, I love making these builds, but I'll be honest with you, like, I did not even come into Yotei Legends even wanting to play the archer. It was not until I would say I found the mercenary to be quite weak at the very beginning that I was kind of having a little bit of trouble just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then I picked up the archer and I found that it was very enjoyable to play, and I found the way to make the full auto archer build work very quickly. And even when I was making the build and playing the build, at the end of the day, there was always a nagging kind of thought in the back of my head where I was like, you know what, this might be too strong. Because when I would take on bosses and being able to stack up all three of the headshots, you know, I would be able to do massive headshot damage. And, you know, I really felt as though I was a little bit too strong using this build, and I was actually very happy to move on to other builds. But now, you know, one of the biggest things that there are a lot of I would say shadow nerfs in this that weren't even listed in the patch notes. I think that one of the main things that they did with the Yumi is not only did they touch the amount of headshot damage, but it feels as though even though you have you know, the target stacked up, it does not feel like you're getting 3 times the damage. Even though you're using 3 arrows, it no longer feels like you're using 3 times the damage. I mean, that was a pretty good one, and that might be cope as well, because sometimes I guess sometimes it feels it does, sometimes it feels it doesn't, but it just definitely does not feel as good as it did before. And, you know, ultimately I'm just gonna have to, you know, again, take my stamp of approval off this build because it just does not work as effectively as it did. And I think that's a good thing. I think that it was too effective. I think it was too powerful. and it really will allow me to highlight the other builds, the other classes. Hopefully, the devs do not keep looking at my videos, because at the end of the day, I don't want them to just keep nerfing everything I do. One of the biggest things I will actually post later, I'll post screenshots on the Reddit Discord, but I also believe there was a shadow nerf that was not put into the patch notes. I mean, and it wasn't listed as a bug, it wasn't listed as an exploit. I don't really know why they didn't list this change, but it is actually a pretty huge one that is related to my this build, which is the sake bottle, right? So that's kind of one of the biggest things that I obviously love doing, with this build, not having to aim, using the sake bottle, and becoming a drunk archer that still hits all of their headshots, was just something that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the thought of. However, the sake bottle, I believe, got a shadow nerf. What do I mean by that? Well, now you'll have your sake bottle, and you use it, as you can see right there, and then the charge goes away. Well, you can kind of see right now, what I'm doing is I'm looking for ammo drops, right? I'm looking for anything on the ground that will tell me, like, okay, there's an ammo drop. And what used to happen was that any ammo drop would give you a sake bottle, right? Even if it wasn't like for like an arrow or a bomb or anything like that, no matter what, the ammo drops would always give you a sake bottle. Well, now it seems as though they have either fixed that, changed that, whatever you want to call it, but now the sake drops and the ammo drops are separate, right? So now there's a less chance of getting a sake. Now you used to just be, or before you used to get sake every time there was an ammo drop, which was great. That means you could always just keep refilling your spirit. But now you have to basically wait for a sake drop, which again just means that the amount of sake you're going to get is a lot less, right? Versus, then you might just get a ammo drop, but it might just be an arrow instead of a guaranteed sake. So that means just, again, less sake, less being able to fill up the spirit. I don't like that change as much, but it also kind of feels correct. In a way, it feels as though that was probably what was intended, instead of just putting a sake for every ammo, because not every enemy should have a sake bottle. But that wasn't put into the patch notes, so I did find that kind of interesting. But again, it is another nail in the coffin of this build, because this build relies on spirit and being able to generate spirit, and the sake bottles were quite huge for being able to generate spirit. As you can see, like right here, I'm out of arrows. I'm out of arrows, man, and it's really terrible. Like I'm scavenger. Like I was already being a scavenger and trying to find, like, the ammo drops and stuff like that, but now it really feels not very good. And again, I would not put my personal seal of approval as a build maker on this build as it stands right now. I don't really know if I want to play Archer, because I never really wanted to play Archer, but this build was just super fun and something that I could do. And it was, again, I didn't have to aim so much. It felt pretty good. I have aim assist on now, so maybe I'll try the skipping stone bow, but it was not something that initially attracted me to the game. And now I have, I would say, better builds that I actually like a little bit more, that weren't touched in patch 1.6, so I will mitigate them. But again, I kind of want to just thank the devs for, at least, I don't want to say that they looked at my videos and then they were like, okay, that's too strong, but like at the very least, they saw the potential for this build, the full auto archer build, to be a little bit too strong. And again, they nerfing the true aim Yumi, fixing the sake bottle, those even just combining those two. Oh, and obviously, lessening empowering hunt and the ammo that you can get back to it. Like they didn't decrease the damage, they decreased the ammo, right? Which again, just completely the true aim Yumi, it's so ammo hungry. So ammo hungry. So by doing that, it's another nerf to the true aim Yumi. So I mean, like I said, it's delusional for me to think that the devs looked at my build and was like, yeah, that's too strong. But I'm just gonna go ahead and just lie to myself and say that's exactly what happened. That is my air fryer in the background. I'm gonna eat dinner right after this. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. I just want to say thank you to the devs though, because again, it's going to allow my other builds to shine. I'm not a guy that's like, if a build is too strong, right? I actually do not like it. Like the build was so strong and so easy to play, and it was fun, but I was playing Archer and I never even actually wanted to play Archer, right? So again, thank you devs, for taking a look at the Archer and honestly just saying, okay, like actually nerfing it a little bit. That way the other builds can shine a little bit, the other classes can shine a little bit. Obviously buffing the samurai. Everybody wants to see the samurai shine. And maybe I'll come back to the archer after the raids. And if the archer is absolutely necessary for the raid, then I'll take another look. It didn't really seem like the archer got a lot of buffs, right? Just nerfs. And so being useful, being more of a utility class maybe is in its future, but definitely won't be taking my full auto archer build into the raid, because that just it just feels so bad right now, and I definitely don't want to deal with that. I would have loved to been able to dominate the bosses, dominate the raids and things like that, but at the end of the day, the devs got to make sure that the game is challenging for player engagement, and will ultimately be all better for it. So once again, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for continuing to support the channel. If you guys want to stay abreast of all the builds that I am going to be putting up, I just put up my Shadow Monarch Shinobi build, which is going to do wonders in survival, and I do want to see how it does in raids. I'll be putting up a samurai build next, and then I will be going after a mercenary build. The spirit throw did get nerfed a little bit, so I'm testing to see if it still feels as good, as strong as I would like. I have a just strict quality. It's got to give me that power fantasy, and if it doesn't, then we got to get back in the lab and keep tweaking until it does, right? But thanks for watching, guys, and if you guys have any comments, just go ahead and put them down in the comment section, and I'll try to answer them and questions and all that good stuff. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.